Hey, folks, welcome. We got another great first-time buyer program out of Florida. You guys definitely don't want to miss this. A no down payment program is going to blow your mind here. I'm with Dan Phillips from Guardian Finance, and we're just going to dive right in because this is something you need to know about. If you live in Florida, you look thinking about buying in Florida, you're a first-time buyer, Dan is definitely the guy that you want to talk to. You guys know, you've heard me before say, there's a lot of lenders out there, a lot of agents out there who don't like working with first-time buyers. I don't know why. Well, I do know why. Because they think it's, not as profitable for them. But I got to tell you something. There's a difference between working with people who have a heart for helping others. And Dan is one of those guys. So welcome, Dan. I'm glad you're here. I'm glad we're able to chat here on our Spotlight series with firsttimehomebuyerprogram.org. How you doing?
Absolutely. Thanks, Anthony. Thanks for having me on. It's truly a pleasure. I love what you're doing there. I love the energy you give for first time whole time buyers. And that's a big passion of mine as well, first time home buyers.
Yeah, I love it. When I started in the industry, when I was doing lending, that was my whole niche was first time home buyers. And I get way more joy out of helping them buy their first home than I, than I ever did, uh, working with people who are just like, give me a loan, cause they can, but no, it's great. So, all right, Dan, so here, hot seat, uh, start us out with something. Tell us something about yourself that a lot of people don't know about that, is kind of interesting.
Well, one of the biggest things that's interesting about me, I've been in this industry since like 2003. So I had the experience of learning firsthand the ups and the downs. I I experienced the bubble in 2006, 7, 8. Um, and I experienced the hardship that it caused. Um, fun fact, after that, I actually joined the military after that bubble, and I actually joined the army. I served 6 years, and I got my bachelor's degree while I was in the army, but I also got two master's degrees. And one of the master's degree was basically on financial management, accounting management, and I also got my CPA license. Just something that I like to use in this industry because we as mortgage brokers we analyze a lot of documentations to help help the loan go through, help the buyers get the mortgage that they're looking for. But I know that a lot of mortgage professionals, even though they got good intentions, a lot of these tax returns, a lot of these income documentations, sometimes catches feeling stuck. Right. I like the fact that I was able to learn to be a CPA. I learned how to understand the tax side and income documentations. I bring that here, and it's for me. It's been a game changer for me helping some of my clients be able to prove their income and get qualified and know what documents we need to get them qualified versus they have the income, but we don't know what documents, we don't know how to interpret or translate these documentations way the lender's looking for.
Yeah. And
That's been a game changer for.
yeah, that is that. And that is critical. And I'm glad you brought that up because there's a lot of times when people walk into a bank and they say, qualify me for a loan. And they say, fine, give me these basic documents. And they go, you don't qualify, as opposed to diving in and really trying to figure out, hey, how do we help these people? Right. So that's amazing. I love that. For whatever it's worth, I'm Army as well. So, uh, we're a good company. Uh, now you told me about it's a no down payment program that you guys have in Florida. That's incredible. That's amazing. I mean, give us the details on it.
So basically, I partner with some of my labors that I use, but we combined our FHA program, which requires 3.5% down. But these lenders are giving my clients the three up to between 3 to 5% towards their down payment. So that means really they don't have to have any money to put down. Uh, so which that even though it's a 96.5% loan for FHA, when they give them at 3.5% down or 5%, they're able to cover the full down payment and some of the closing costs as well. And that is not something that they have to pay back. That is actually something that's going to be truly forgiven.
Hmm. And that's what they would call a silent second. So it's basically a second loan for that 3 to 5%. That just sits there silently, right? Does it accrue interest over time?
So accrue interest. I work with other programs where the money needs to be paid back. Some of them you don't have to make a payment. Some of them you have to make a payment. But this one, you don't make a payment. It's not approved. It's actually forgiven.
Wow.
So
At what time frame is it forgiven in?
was forgiven right away, but there is a requirement to keep a loan for 6 months.
Oh, okay.
It's forgiven right.
That is incredible. That's an amazing program. And I got to tell you, one of the best things a first time buyer can do is leverage that, because if you think about it, you're going into a property with no money out of pocket. I mean, that's kind of unheard of these days. There's not a lot of lenders that I think that are doing that. And so that is absolutely amazing. So let me ask you this. How hard is it to qualify, or easy? Is it,
It's actually pretty easy to qualify for this loan, which is about knowing that it's out there, and sitting with someone to help you structure it. But it's a fairly easy loan. It is, if you could get approved for the FHA loan, you could get approved for one of these loans.
That's incredible. So, okay, so let's dive into that a little bit. What are the requirements to get approved for an FHA loan?
So usually for FHA loan, they're looking at the minimum. Typically, ideal lenders are looking for a credit score of 580. Yeah, a lot of them are looking for a 620 score, but we could get you approved with 580, 600 credit score. So if your credit score is not that 620 or 640, they shouldn't be afraid to contact us to see. We're getting them approved without all the FICA, and it's allowed for that. We're looking for income for 2 years resident. 2 years residence. We want to see an application. We want to see 2-year job history. The job history, which a lot of people think it has to be in the same job or the same line of work. It doesn't have to be the same job. It doesn't have to be in the same line of work. Looking for 2-year history. Even if you had gaps in 2 years, that's fine. Even if you came out of school and you just started, we're gonna put school as that 2-year history, and we're gonna get you. And once we could show that, especially if it's a job that is a W-2 employee, the letter's really looking for continuing of income. Should you have that W-2 income that we could see the salary is going to continue, as long as it's not saying that your job is only for 1 year or whatever the case, we're going to make the assumption that income is going to continue for at least 3 years, and that's what they're looking for. So, and that's what they're going to determine that your qualification on. So even if that 2-year history that we need to have an application, even if it's not full with the same employer with the same work history or has gaps, we can explain that and put on an application. As long as we put the information there and we document what we provide on the application, we get the automated approval. Usually I will submit my loans directly to Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac. So as long as I get that automated approval when I submit it to the lender, as long as I support what I had in the application, they're going to approve the loan.
Wow. So, and folks, look, if you're listening to this, I can't stress you enough the importance of what he just said, because a lot of people would just go online, they fill out a loan application online, right? And that loan application thing will come out and say, oh yeah, you're approved for XYZ dollar amount. But when you actually start going through the process and you start trying to to get the actual approval, people are disappointed. Like, oh, well, I'm not approved. Wrong. You just didn't have the right person working for you. That's what it comes down to. I will tell you that just from my own experience, 30 years in this business, I've seen it hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of times. And that's why we got people like Dan Phillips here on the Spotlight interview series that we're doing here, because it's so important to make those right connections out there. So I mean, and that being said, I was going to ask you, well, what makes a good first time buyer lender? But that kind of, I mean, you just like epitomize that right now. Just making sure that you're diving in deep and figuring out what's going to make it work for people.
Correct, correct. Let's say that 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 consultation that we're gonna have with the individual, find out exactly where they're at, find out what situation they're at, and understand how we're gonna structure their application, but also know what documentations we're gonna want to receive and provide, and make sure we have the documentation that's gonna support the lender's guidelines.
Right. So let me ask. Okay, let me ask you just a couple more questions here. What's like the biggest challenges that you see most first time buyers fall into?
Um, Really not first not believing that they could actually buy the home as a first time home buyer. So that's usually one of the biggest problems that I see. But then the next thing is basically uh you know not starting early, not understanding, not working with someone to get an understanding of what programs are out there, which programs gonna best suit you, and and budget and what to expect. Now, what type of budget to expect? What do I really need to save for? What have been something I want to do? So not know what they don't know and not start early. Yeah.
Right. And not giving up. I mean, because again, you just said there uh people tend to buy. They say, I want to buy a house. They go rush out. They try to start this process to find out that maybe there's some work that they have to do, and then they get discouraged and then end up not buying a house, right? And so, doing the work, planning ahead of time, being in front of it, taking control of it, right? And just being that buyer that says, hey, we're getting it done. We're going to figure out whatever it takes. And I imagine there's some buyers that come to you and they say, hey, well, we want to buy a house, and maybe there's some credit issues, or maybe there's some other, income documentation issues. So, hey, we got to work on this a little bit. Let's get through it. But then you're going to be a homeowner, right?
Absolutely, absolutely. And I see a lot of times where I think some of customers who are coming to me, they're kind of hesitant because they're saying, I'm not looking to buy for like 3 months, 6 months down the line. So I don't want to really work with anybody, do anything right now. I think that's a mistake. Uh, I think you should start working early, get an understanding. It doesn't mean that like, for example, someone start working with me. I know we're not doing anything in 6 months. I could get them pre-qualified without pulling like their credit, right? So they know what their credit score is approximately, and they know what liabilities they have. They know what expenses they have, and they know their income. So I could sit with them and go over, get them pre-qualified just based off of that. And if we need to look at credit, I could look at credit a little softball where it won't affect that. Because these are things we just start doing early, start planning. And there's things that tricks that I know because of I understand how credit works or how credit score works. There are certain things that I can help suggest or help people do to increase credit score very quickly, very easily without necessarily going to someone that does credit repair. I'm not saying not to go to credit repair, but certain things you could do without one of credit repair, and you can increase your credit score tremendously. And that will save you thousands if you can help yourself get a lower rate. These are things that you can do without just starting early, just knowing that I could have done this. I can make these easy changes. That's gonna change in a month to 2 months. Now, if there's something that is like for credit, is something that's a little bit more challenging, then we could say, yes, you may want to check with credit repair to make some of these adjustments and work on doing that while you are planning, while you are playing. Okay, I want to buy my home when my lease is up. I don't want to start this lease up again. Don't wait until 1 month, 2 months before the lease if you know you're going to do that. Start looking at what are things you can do to improve your loan. Even if you could get approved, you could still improve your loan.
Yeah. And I like that. I like that you said it, and they don't get that. They don't get the improve your loan concept because they're not in the business. It's not what they do every day. How often do people buy houses? But there are things that you can do to improve your loan, get a better rate, get a better fees, get better terms, and put yourself in a better position when you're buying as well, because you're making an offer. And if you're making an offer and it's kind of like, we're pretty good versus, hey, we're locked in. A seller or, the agent is going to look at that and go, oh, this is a good offer, versus, it's probably okay. Maybe we look for another offer, right? So, yeah, I love that. I love that idea. Improve your loan, get ahead of the game, get started, get the, plan way ahead. Start way sooner than you think that you need to start, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's great. Well, Dan, this is awesome. I love this program. And I'm sure you have great first-time buyer agents that you work with out there so people can connect with you and get a connection with them once they get approved. Because here's the challenge, and correct me if I'm wrong. I'd love to hear your perspective. People, the first thing they do is they go out, they talk to an agent, and sometimes the agent will start showing them houses. They're not even approved. It's a waste of their time. It's a waste of the agent's time. Then they go to get approved. They talk to somebody, find out that they can't get approved because it was some online application. Eventually, they make their way to you. Okay, now they realize it's going to take 3 to 6 months and get that thing started now. And then once they're approved, now you get them to a good agent that's going to actually help them, who also has a heart for working with first-time agents, because there's a correct, tell me if your experience is different, but there is a difference. There, just like lenders, there's agents who don't want to work with first-time buyers, and I don't understand it.
I think a lot of it has to do with it's a little bit more challenging to work with it's not that it's hard to work with an individual. It's just the process itself is a little bit more challenging to make everything line up properly. Sometimes the purchase price is not as high, so it's not as lucrative. But it is very rewarding, helping someone attain, home ownership when they didn't think that was something possible. Or even if they thought it was possible, it's just the fact that you help them in that first process. Buying a home is probably like the biggest purchase someone's going to make in their life. And being able to help someone do that for the first time, to me, I think is very rewarding.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's not, there's another underlying effect as well, is that real estate, I don't care what anybody tells you, real estate is the number one way that the typical American can build their wealth, right? You think about it, you're putting no money down, and in 10 years, you've got $100,000 of equity with no money down. How do you do that? Show me an investment you could put no money into and have $100,000 in equity in 10 years. It's crazy. So, well, guys, thank you so much. Dan, this is amazing. I'm so glad that we made this connection here and that we were able to interview you here on our Spotlight series at firsttimehomebuyerprogram.org. And we look to talk to more people just like you, Dan, more great lenders in different parts of the country, more real estate agents who really have a heart for helping people, because that's our goal, is to get people connected to people like Dan here. If you're in Florida, if you're thinking about buying your first home and you're not calling Dan, then you're probably crazy or something like that. So I would definitely suggest that. His information is all on the screen here. You can reach out to him directly. And gosh, we really look forward to seeing what you guys do in the future here and the people that you get to help out. So thanks so much for being part of the Spotlight series, Dan. And we will see you on another episode soon, I'm sure.
And thank you. Thanks for having me.
You bet. Take care.